Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Ammar bin Salim from the LUMS Office of Advancement. Welcome to another podcast from LUMS today. Today, the conversation is going to be about the School of Education at LUMS, Syed Ahsan and Syed Maratib School of Education. We are offering two programs from the school at the graduate level, MPhil in Education Leadership and Management, and the executive variant of the same program. So today, the discussion is going to be about the executive MPhil in Education Leadership and Management. And the best aspect of today's program is that I have two guests from the School of Education family at LUMS. So I have Ms. Sannia Hussain and Mr. Khizar Tahseen with us today. Sannia is a graduate of University of Reading, and she's also a faculty member at the School of Education. Khizar Tahseen is a current student of ours enrolled in the Executive MPhil Education Leadership and Management program, and he's also a colleague of mine. His office is right opposite to mine, and he's presently working with LUMS Center for Continuing Education. Welcome both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omar.
You're most welcome. Thanks to you for taking time out and being with us.
Our pleasure.
Sannia, I'm going to start with you. So we have multiple universities offering the same or similar education, leadership, and management program at the MPhil level. So why SOE? Why should someone pursue, say, the Ahsan and Syed Maratib School of Education at LUMS?
Firstly, for the faculty members who are working here, that includes me as well. So I'm going to probably sound a bit pompous, but leaving that aside, it is something that is has been established. First of all, LUMS is a credible university, has a name which is internationally recognized. The School of Education is something that has a lot of reach and appeal to the wider audience. We have so many people interested in education in Pakistan. They know the problems. They know they'd like to come up with solutions. They want to make a difference. They want to be those leaders of change. And hence, this is just the perfect timing for the School of Education to come in. Here, the faculty members are all stalwarts. They're working within the industry. We've got people coming in from education. We've got people who are practitioners. So that link that they make between theory and practice is very solid. And when that translates onto the students and how they learn directly from them, I think that is what makes the most difference.
Right. Okay, so if I were to give you a situation, and I have worked extensively in the education industry myself, so I know there are people who with their bachelors are now have worked at multiple organizations, maybe, decades or 2 decades, and have reached top senior management positions in their organizations. Now, what do you think is a degree, Executive MPhil ELM, is going to offer to them? What more can it add to their experience? How can it help them progress in their careers? What is it for them to look forward to if they go through the rigorous ELM program at LUMS?
That's a very good question. I'll answer it briefly and then I'll move it on to Khizar because he's got hands-on experience. He's one of our students, so he's going through the grind.
I'm going to talk to you about the grind.
For sure. Yes,
Right.
That's going to come.
So coming back to what does this program have to offer? Now, the thing is that these are already working professionals, so they have a fair idea of what's going on. Now, when they come back to this program, they get the theoretical base, the theoretical knowledge, and for them to marry the two and understand how things work in the real-time situations in Pakistan is a perfect match. So this program gets to, they're doing everything that they're doing. They're probably struggling. They're trying to make meaning of what they're doing. And when they come to this program, they get the theoretical base. उसके सारे जवाबात उनको मिल जाते हैं कि ये मसले जो हो रहे हैं कैसे हो रहे हैं, because they're all set in theory. And then that theory comes from people, the faculty members, who are stalwarts in their own right. And that fusion that they kind of manage, and then it gives them that edge to understand theory, to see the practical implications, and then move forward.
I think we're a unique point in informed, because जब आप practice कर रहे होते हो, there are so many things that you come up with, that you see every day, और उसके जवाबात जब आपको कई दफ़ा research से मिल रहे होते.
So you do pick out, you do know that there's something wrong. You can see, you can, kind of get used to that, but you want to pinpoint, you want to find out that basic thing that is missing. And sometimes instead of struggling, if you know exactly what's going on and you kind of amalgamate all this, it gives you solid standing and grounding to move forward in your academic career.
Absolutely. Khizar, aapki taraf aata hoon. So, before you answer the question, what was it that encouraged you to pursue the ELM program? पहले मुझे बताएं आपको कि अपने weekends पसंद नहीं थे?
हाँ, yeah, that could have been the case. हाँ, but again इसके बारे में
या LUMS आपको बहुत पसंद है कि 5 दिन यहाँ कर फिर 2 दिन दोबारा weekends में भी आना.
I feel I'm married to LUMS, at the moment, but yeah.
If anybody is, it's you.
So I think I'd say it is very cleverly designed. Like Ma'am Sannia said, yes, it is. And I'll talk more about the grind. Yes. So no, you do have to make sure when you're getting into it, you will be able to put aside those hours, those extra hours. You need those. I mean, this is obviously a graduate level program at LUMS, so yes, you need to have those hours in, but it is very cleverly designed and you can manage it for sure. So I can tell a bit about, my context. So I have around 10 years of experience, out of which 7 years are in the education sector here at LUMS. Before that, I was working in the advertising, I was working at Zong. And so I moved, that was my true calling. So I felt education was my true calling. I moved to LUMS and I've worked in the marketing department, where the department where you're working at, and then moved to the Center for Continuing Education. So I've been learning on job. Everything that I learned, it was through the process. But now I felt it was time to know the method behind the madness, to actually know the theories, to be equipped with tools. So instantly I feel with this program, I really don't see a reason why any education practitioner should not be strongly considering this, because I'm writing better proposals. For example, with Ma'am Sanya's course, Dr. Taiba's interdisciplinary theoretical perspective has given me that lens to, view how to compartmentalize different, I work with different instructors. When they send in the outlines, now I can see if it's a behaviorist approach or, if it's a constructivist approach. Now I can immediately see where to compartmentalize. So yes, you will immediately be able to apply all these things. And yes, it's hectic. The grind is there, but it's manageable.
I think मैं वो देख रहा हूँ कि जो आपने अभी पहले बात की कि जो मैं लर्न करता हूँ उसको मैं फ़ौरन से अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ. So she just spoke about this and आपने फ़ौरन से उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करके बता दिया कि जी मैं ये प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहा था और ये उसके आंसर्स हैं.
बिल्कुल. So yes, that aspect is very much there with the executive workshop.
इसमें मैं कुछ थोड़ा सा ऐड कर दूँ. They need to make decisions. They're working. So tiniest decisions to the biggest ones that you need to make. This course and the theory that goes with it helps them make that informed decision. तो वो decision making ability जो है वो ज़्यादा solidify हो जाती है. It gives them more confidence. As Khizar just said, you immediately make that connect. You know you're doing, and it also gives you that confidence. I've already done that. अब मुझे अब समझ आ रही है कि ये behaviorism है या ये constructivism है या ये approach है या ये वो approach है. So that, goes deep down in your professional development. Coming back to interdisciplinary theories, perspectives, they are interdisciplinary. So whether you're working in marketing or you're working with sales or you're working with business or you're working, थोड़ा सा education में management of business भी आती है, if you're working with
and this is a leadership and management program.
And this is leadership and management.
Exactly.
So वो सारा hands-on आपको directly मिलता है, and it goes deep down in, it's kind of internalized. And then it helps you make decisions, that it gives you that confidence. Yeah, I know what I'm doing and I know I'm doing it right.
Exactly. अच्छा, Khizar, आपकी point से, Sannia, I would prefer कि आप पहले उसका answer दें. How important it is for the current students to have experience of the industry to pursue this program? मुझे पता है कि इसकी 2 साल की requirement है. You have to have 2 years of work experience before you even consider applying the program. That's there. लेकिन do you think that adds to the richness of the classroom discussion? How does that add value overall?
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. If we're talking about the executive program, yes, that they have to be working professionals. And that experience, because I always tell all my students कि theory तो है, वो तो है, it's written down, it's documented, it's there to stay, unless it's challenged. Even if it is, it's still there. Practical implication क्या है? Sometimes theory and practice are at a 180-degree tangent. आप पढ़ते कुछ है और practical implication उसकी कुछ और होती है. तो even better कि आप जो theory पढ़ के जो एक blank slate पे आप theory पढ़ के निकलते हैं, you kind of disappointed. You kind of, demotivated. कि मैंने तो ये पढ़ा था classroom में तो ये होता है, ये educational field में तो ये हो रहा है. So if you already know what's going on and you can, go back and pinpoint to what theory actually says, वो आपकी understanding, of course, with your own knowledge, with your own background, your schemata that have already been developed, उसके साथ फिर वो बड़ी grounded और solid understanding होती है.
And हम सोचा करते थे कि O levels की बुक्स तो सारी कैम्ब्रिज ने लिखी हैं और वो सारे उस पर्सपेक्टिव से लिखी हुई और मार्केट जो है वो पाकिस्तानी जिसमें हमने ऑपरेट करना है
तो it kind of doesn't gel at times.
180 degree tangent जो है वो that exists. It's pretty much there.
It's always there. And I'm an English language teacher and a trainer और ज़्यादा मेरा experience इसी में है. तो वो जो कोरे ने जो चीज़ें हमें बता दी हैं, they are really good. But sometimes they don't work in the Pakistan context. And who understands the Pakistan context better than us? जितना हमारा एक्सपीरियंस होगा उतना ही हमें समझ आएगा, उतना ही हम उसको चैलेंज भी कर सकेंगे या उसको अडेप्ट कर सकेंगे या उसको चेंज ले आएंगे. And we'll be able to move forward.
And I'd like to add what Ma'am Sannia said. The Pakistani context is very important. All the courses that we take, there is always that. Even in the seminar assignments that we get, we have to implement it in the Pakistani context as well. So that's a very important part of it. Even the for example, the leadership course. So it is that perfect kind of marriage between that theory and practice. So we everything from implementing change intervention models that we are being equipped with, and so but there's always that Pakistani context that is always taught to us as well with local examples. So
Achha,
that's
now
very
that we're
much
talking
there.
about the Pakistani aspects, I'm also interested in knowing कि किस तरह से मार्केट को आप evaluate करते हैं, किस तरह से जो है आप सेक्टर at large उसको understand करते हैं. Are there any field work activities or are there any practical things that you have to be involved in research activities? आप तब involved हो चुके हैं तो मतलब maybe you can talk about your own experiences.
So like Ma'am Sannia said, this is like a perfect combination of theory and practical aspect of education, leadership, and management. So, for example, there's a complete course on observing schools. So we also studying interdisciplinary theoretical perspectives, but then we're also doing something like observing schools. I was personally, and where we can choose, to visit different schools, and right from the get-go. I was always interested in case method pedagogy, and so I'm getting to observe the MBA classes right now. LUMS being LUMS, there's that interdisciplinary. So I went ahead. Also getting a flavor of the
that gives you exclusive access.
Exclusive access, and so things like that, they're available in LUMS. They are very much at your disposal.
It's quite interdisciplinary in the whole LUMS life, right? So we at LUMS have for all the different programs that we have a very open doors policy. So for example, if there's something that is research happening at the School of Science and Engineering, maybe you could find its implications or implement somewhat of it with the School of Business. So I can attest to the fact that the faculty and the students and the staff are very open to this. And this one aspect I wanted to highlight, that what is the pedagogy that we follow at School of Education? What is the pedagogy that is in place for this?
Okay, I'm going to start with my module, the one that I'm teaching, and then we'll move over to Khizar. I'm teaching academic writing. And that is something that is a core module, and it is something that is the basis of everything that they do. So इन्होंने जो भी assignments लिखनी है, reflective journals लिखने हैं, practicum लिखना है, में काम करना है इन्होंने, capstone लिखना है. They will probably also write school observation reports as well. Yeah, so and then of course reading the theory that they have to do. So all that is encapsulated in this module, which is probably a credit hour. It might seem, tiny, but छोटा है, but बड़ा effective है. It's very important. तो उसकी बड़ी value है. So how I teach it is through first reading, because reading, I'm a language teacher, so reading and writing are integrated. ये theory को पढ़ेंगे तो उसको interpret करेंगे, critically analyze करेंगे, फिर ही आगे जाके उसमें writing या ये अपने views दे सकेंगे. So the pedagogical model usually here is seminar style. So that reading the theory is given to them. The practical implications are discussed in class. I do a lot of hands-on exercises as well because it's based on writing. So uske saath phir, and of course, because they're executive MPhils, they have their own background knowledge. So it's like a buffet table. Everybody brings in. So everybody brings in what they have from their own perspectives, from their experience, what they've learned from theory, what they've learned from their professors, and it's like a resource bank. It's like a pool. वो सारा कुछ इसमें डाला, and then you get to pick and choose. So it's like a repertoire of skills that you develop. तो वो तो classroom भी जो है ना, it's that magician's hat, जिसके अंदर इतना कुछ है, इतनी सारी skills, इतना कुछ है. So you get to pick and choose and see कि इसमें से क्या निकलता है और इसमें से क्या निकलता है. So that is what I really love about the pedagogy used here, which I use myself. And now Khizar will explain how he experiences that as a student.
Yeah, so like I said, it's very cleverly designed in this way. When I enrolled here, obviously, you have experience writing, up undergrad, maybe sara kuch hota hai, but then you like suddenly graduate level, how to tackle a literature review, things like that, and suddenly it's a lifesaver kind of course. Jo ke, for example, Ma'am Sannia ke this is how you do it. So it's very logically designed in that way. So whatever that the challenges that come, there is maybe a course on it. So those things are there as well. In terms of the pedagogy, it's like Ma'am Sannia said, it's mostly seminar based. But then there are, for example, the leadership course that we have that by Dr. Jamal, that has a lot of case methods being taught in there. So I think that's applicable to that discipline. So
उसमें case method में like you're given cases of the
Yes.
real world situation, then you get into classroom discussions
Exactly.
and maybe write analysis on the case.
So mostly we are given this case, we have to kind of read it, go through it, sink in all the information, and then in the class we have to act like the person who's solving. So we have all this information, we have a decision to make. Now we have to come up with those decisions. So it's a real life simulation of.
Is it
the events that
easy
happen.
to come and make sure that everybody agrees on the same thing?
In terms
Because
of the students?
I mean, I'm sure that you would be solving cases in groups, right?
Yes.
So उसमें
Yes.
4-5 लोग होते होंगे, everybody would have a different point of a different opinion, of course. So is it easy to bring everybody on to the same point? कि हाँ ये हमने present करना है. वो experience कैसा होता है?
बिल्कुल. So it's a challenge for sure. But ये कि हमारे जो है faculty members वो यही कहते हैं, जैसे काम में आपको you don't get an option to मैंने इसके साथ काम करना है, इसके साथ नहीं करना. So it's again, that's real life, examples of real life scenarios that are being done. So we have to work with everyone. We have to come on the same page. Even we did a group essay. So
wow.
So imagine coming on the same page on that.
And that's a perfect example of what they need to do. So practically employing that in a simulated session, कि leadership कैसे करेंगे आप? The models that they've studied and informed decisions कैसे बनाएंगे? So obviously, when you have a leader, we're all individuals. So whether there are 4 people to a group or 10 or 100, is going to be faced with diverse opinions. And that's the beauty of being individuals and humans. So usko leke kaise chalna hai? That is a practical demonstration of what they learn. So as you say, it's not easy, but that's the experience that they're gaining in a simulated setting.
Plus, it's not just a management program; it's also a leadership program.
It's also leadership. So how do you bring everyone on the same page?
But the great thing is they give you all these tools as well. So you might be facing some conflict in that group, and there's a theory about it too, how to manage conflicts, and so you suddenly apply. There's a lot of aha moments. That's for sure. That happens.
Ajay, Khizar, a very important question. Let's talk about the class profile. So I am interested in learning if the program is open to people from, or maybe let's rephrase the question: how is this program diverse? How are we ensuring that there are diverse groups of people, or diverse individuals, in the sense of gender diversity, cultural diversity, professional diversity? How is that being ensured? Is the School of Education Executive MPhil program in ELM only restricted or limited to people who are going to pursue a career in education, or is it open to people from a diverse background, diverse professional background?
Yes. So it is very diverse, especially I think the ELM, the executive version is even more diverse. So, you get people from all kinds of professional backgrounds, you get people from all, again, there's gender diversity there. There's also, even from religious viewpoints, we get people from different religions and we learn to respect each other. That's all there as well. So, and you would think that they would be all from the education sector, but they're not.
We've got engineers, we've got pharmacists.
Yes, exactly.
We've got chemical engineers.
Bilkul.
So that's it. And these are the people who now would be entering the education sector? That is why they're pursuing this program?
Yes. Education sector.
Because it's not very easy to find a connection between a chemical engineering program in the bachelor's and then, somebody going for education in master's.
So even if they go back to teach, say, That is education. And then when, she's seen leadership starts from the classroom. So when the teacher walks in the classroom, they are a leader. They're leading. So I think it starts at that micro level. So whether you take as they say, join the industry, education, government level pay, classroom level pay, private sector, आपके अपने field में भी you need to be a leader. You need to make that change. You need to educate. So when you are having peer collaboration that Khizar is talking about, working in groups, जो एक term है to be on the same page. You may have a diversified view, a different perspective, but you're reading the same page together. The interpretation आप सबकी different होगी, but for that moment, you're together. So this is that wonderful experience that so chemical engineering hai, ya pharmacy hai, ya...
even have someone from police.
Yes, this gentleman, yeah.
Yeah,
he's
this
from
gentleman,
the police.
he's from the, from
the police department.
He's like
He's
too tired from the police work and now exploring
I
education.
had a word with him and he said that I've always been interested in education and I've always been interested in learning, and I want to start it from my household with my children. So brilliant, how brilliant is that? So it's that micro level that we're looking for. That stone that you throw in a still pond and those ripple effects that are far-reaching.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the admission criteria. So we know that to apply to the program, you need to have 16 years of education, then you need to send in your letter of recommendations, and then 2 years of work experience you should have. Plus, there's a testing requirement as well. So you could either go with GMAT or you could go with GRE, and if you don't want to go for GMAT or GRE, then you could take the option of going for NTS GAT. So which one did you go for?
I went for the GRE.
GRE.
Yeah.
How easy or difficult was that?
Honestly, I didn't know about the NTS GAT at that point. but GRE again, the math was a bit more harder to tackle. But you put in like 2-3 months to practice, and I didn't even take any kind of tuitions or extra classes. I just did it on my own.
You did
time,
it all on your own.
On my own, and so. But one thing I like to tell the audience is that the SOE is looking for a more holistic. I learned that. And now that is what I tell anyone who's applying here, that they're looking for a more holistic profile. Do not be scared of GRE. If you have, good work experience and, you've got solid references, I think the personal statement is really important. That I felt. And don't try to, kind of get around it, or, people might have anyone. There might be people who might get someone else to write it. Don't do that at all.
You should never do that.
You should never do that, because in the interview, that is what's being asked. And you need to have that passion get across.
Absolutely. And I would like to make sure that we are reiterating the same point again. That yes, this time you could go for GAT. Khizar didn't know about it, so he went for GRE, but you can go for GAT as well. And also, yes, we take a very holistic approach when we're evaluating the application. So it's not that we are evaluating the application in silos. It's not just your performance in the GMAT, GRE, or whatever test that you go for. It's also your academic record. It's also your experiences, your learning, your personal statement, what your referees write about you. So it's so many things, and then your interview as well. So we have heard so much about LUMS interview being very rigorous, very hard to ace. So what was that experience like?
So you do have to be prepared for it for sure.
I am certain of that.
Yeah, and do definitely do write the personal statement with care and with passion, and that is what will be asked essentially. That's what I experienced.
एक छोटा सा question. कितना आसान है पर्सनल स्टेटमेंट लिखना और कितना मुश्किल? आपको क्या काफी सारे दिन लगे थे, या आपको बस one day you decide कि मैं लिख दूंगा और हो जाएगा इस तरह?
नहीं, I took a few days to write it and then edit it, and I took it very seriously. So I do know for
a lot of introspection.
And you do have to kind of write what you're passionate about, why do you want to be doing it, and how you can add to that cohort. So that I think is really important. And I felt, so essentially they're just a bit of a tip for, the people who are going for the interview. And there are faculty members who are there, interviewing you. So it's don't take that lightly as well. But, if you have written your statement with passion and you really know what you're doing and why you're enrolling in this program, go through it with passion. And I'm sure, you'll go through with it. So
absolutely. Yeah. Sannia, I'm going to come to you. And what do you think? Or in your experience, what do you think is the most significant element in the whole admission criteria that we have? And what is it that you're actually looking for?
I'm going to pick up on what Khizar just said and develop on that. We talk about a personal statement, how easy or how difficult it is to write. That was your question. So your personal statement is you, how you project yourself on paper. So मेरी आपको suggestion है कि आप अपनी personal statement यहाँ से यहाँ connect करके paper पे लिखें. So it's you in your personal statement. आपका passion, आपकी motivation, आपकी desire, that burning desire. Of course, in the light of all that you feel you're going to gain through that course that you have enrolled yourself into, उसके लिए आपने वो passion show करना है. So it is not recommended to ask anyone else to write your personal statement because they're not you. You have to write your own statement. So in this thing, the most, because I've been on the panel of interviews as well as an interviewer, what I'm looking for is that intrinsic motivation. Why do you want to do this? And how do you think you're going to make that difference? You're that one drop in the ocean that's going to bring that change. और आपने इसमें जाके इसके अंदर इस ocean में dive करके, are you going to sink or are you going to swim? That is what you need to kind of manifest in your personal statement. And you have to be very, very clear about what you want and how you want to get it.
So, yeah,
I'd like to add what Ma'am Sannia said. So, yeah, again, that intrinsic motivation is very important. I remember Syed Babar Ali at the orientation, he said something really interesting. He said, on the lines of, if you're here to become like a billionaire, you need to, get out of this auditorium, go to the business school. You will have a very comfortable life while pursuing this discipline. But you need to have, it's a passion project that you'll be taking on.
Absolutely.
So, you need to have that intrinsic motivation and you need to be passionate about it.
Education is
ROI
service
will
industry.
be there, but, that can't be the sole thing driving you in this program.
I concur, and I do agree कि आप एक तो सबसे पहली बात वो वाली जो holistic approach वाली है, plus what you've just said कि it's a lot of introspection that is required to write your personal statement, because जब आपकी application आएगी हमारे पास, we'll first evaluate the papers that you're going to be sending in, and then we'll be inviting you for the interview. And अगर किसी से आप लिखवाते हो या आप किसी से assistance आप ले रहे हैं, so the interviewer would know कि आपने, there is no coherence between what you had written and what you are saying in the interview. And thank you very much, Sannia and Khizar, for joining us for this podcast today. Before we say goodbye to you, I would like to highlight a couple of points. So we at LUMS from the get-go have this policy that if you know what LUMS can do for you, what a LUMS or where a LUMS program can take you, finances are no problem at all. So there are merit scholarships, and there's also MCB student personal loan. So you can get, assistance from us in terms of finances as well to finance this program. And on top of that, if you're still not certain about how this degree is going to help you, we have free consultancy sessions as well, 30-minute long consultancy sessions. And उसके लिए सिर्फ इतना सा करना है आपने कि you will have to write us an email requesting a session with our team members at soeadmissions@lums.edu.pk, and we'll make sure कि आपको first slot पे ही हम जो है available slot पे आपको बुला लें, and we engage in a very, introspective, very interactive discussion with you and see if this program is the most relevant one for you at LUMS or not. And secondly, please remember that the deadline to submit your online application is March 14. So make sure से पहले आपकी application, online application जो है वो हमारे पास आ रही है, and उसके बाद फिर आपके हमारे supporting documents जो हैं वो भी required होंगे. And one last thing. So as we spoke about the testing requirements, you could go for NTS CAT, there is GRE option, there is GMAT as well, but make sure we have your results latest by 19th March 2023. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much. If you're still confused about it, as I mentioned, there are free consultancy sessions at soeadmissions@lums.edu.pk. We have now email हमें लिखें, we'll arrange one for you. And if there's something related to admissions, please make sure you're writing to us at admissions@lums.edu.pk.